Big TV. We got Krista in Texas. You're not too far from me. Jenny in Orlando. Hello in Northeast Florida. And Jackie Jacks in Northern California. Hey, everybody. Welcome to my weekly live chat. I am super excited this week to go live with you. I've just got a lot of seed questions have been asked lately, and I wanted to give you guys a chance to come on live and ask your questions. So I try to go live here every Thursday at 5 p.m. Central Time. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Mary, and I am Mary at Mary's Heirloom Seeds. Hey, Tammy, thanks for joining me. We are currently in Ben Wheeler, Texas. It is East Texas. I love it. But I have growing experience in, hey, Tom, thanks for joining me. I have experience growing in different zones. Hey, Kathleen in New Jersey. I was live at Grow Big TV on Tuesday, and we had a fantastic chat. After my video, I will post a link in the comments so you guys can check it out. It was awesome. We discussed garden planning, companion planting, maximizing your yield in your garden. There was so much awesome information, and it was crammed into, I think it was like an hour and a half. I don't normally do hour and a half live videos, so it was a lot of fun. Hey, Shirley and Christine, we've got some great people joining us today. We've got some regulars and some new people joining me. So if you're just here for the first time, welcome. And for those of you that join me regularly, welcome back. So today's topic is seed Q&A. And that's a very broad term, a very broad topic, I should say. But I want to hear from you. I get questions all the time about certain seeds, whether it's how to grow it, how to store it. Hey, Mary, do you have this variety, or do you have something similar? So for example, Christine asked for Timothy Hay grass seeds recently. And I am so excited. I will be able to offer Timothy Hay grass seeds hopefully by this weekend. So if you're looking to grow fodder, or you're looking to add some green manure, it's a great option. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, hit the thumbs up. I always appreciate it. And ask me your questions. Now, if you're watching the replay, or if you're watching this and you don't really want to ask a question live, you can send an email to mary@marysheirloomseeds.com, and I will try to answer your questions. Because it is a very busy time, please have some patience with me. Give me a couple days to answer your questions. And also check your spam folder, because sometimes I send a response almost immediately, but it goes into your spam folder and you don't necessarily see it. So before we get to the meat and potatoes of the video, I always like to share what's new at Mary's Heirloom Seeds. January is Plant for Pollinators Month. If you've already placed your order, you may or may not know already, but all of the orders that I ship out, every package that I ship out in the month of January is going to include our Plant for Pollinators packet. That includes Plant for Pollinators information on the front. Krista, I am so excited you ordered. I saw that before I went live, and I'm going to share some info on that too. And then on the back is some seed starting information for specific pollinator varieties. So it's going to discuss, speaking of seeds, it's going to discuss specific seed starting techniques like cold stratification that we've discussed in a couple of videos, but that's there too. Hey, yep, Tammy, I think I shipped out your order today, and you're in Texas as well, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So your seed should arrive shortly. Monday is a federal holiday, so everything's delayed a day, but I'm super excited that I get a break. Actually, Monday is supposed to be 8 degrees here in our area of East Texas. So I'm going to take a day off from work, which I don't normally do because it's going to be cold. Awesome. All right. So not only are you going to receive the Plant for Pollinators information, you're also going to receive one of these awesome zinnia postcards, which has some beautiful photos on the front and some information on the back. And then you're also going to get 2 free seeds. I know, Krista, it was warmer today than yesterday, but really cold coming up. Hey, David, thanks for joining us. And then the free seeds right now are zinnia, which is from our postcard, and then yellow pear tomato. So we have some awesome and exciting information, events coming up. So speaking of seeds, if you've got questions about seeds, please ask them, and I'll stop what I'm doing and I'll answer your questions. Recently, this evening, actually, on my Facebook page, someone asked if I carry dwarf tomato seeds. And now I don't carry any hybrid dwarf tomato varieties, but the Czech bush tomato is a fantastic variety for a container. It's determinate, it is smaller, it's going to be a heavy producer, so you definitely want to give it some support. But the Czech bush squash is a great option for you. I am going to be teaching a seed starting 101 and at Bob Wells Nursery at Sorrel Farms. They are in Mineola, Texas. So for the locals, if you're close by and you want to join me, it is January 20th. Okay, here, I'm really sorry. I think it's at 10 a.m. It may be at 11 a.m. and I really apologize. I'm blanking at this point, but I'm super excited to be able to share information. They contacted me out of the blue and were like, hey, do you want to do a seed starting workshop? And I'm like, yeah, of course. So David's got a great question. How about cold stratification versus not needing stratification? So in the description section of this video, you'll find a link to my comprehensive planting guide. In that comprehensive planting guide is an article that is a growing list of seeds, specifically herbs and flowers, that require cold stratification for optimal germination. Now, there is a difference between winter sowing and cold stratification. But you can do winter sowing for seeds that require cold stratification. Some people do winter sowing for things like tomatoes and peppers and basil, and it's not required to cold stratify them. Now, there are a handful. I can't rattle them all off, but I've got a good idea of what does. Lupine, Texas bluebonnet, all of the butterfly weed and milkweed varieties. Artichoke does really good if you cold stratify. Sage does really good if you cold stratify. Let's see what else. Rosemary, lavender, lemon balm. There's a bunch more. I believe anise hyssop, but don't quote me on that, but it's in the list. So now some seeds require cold stratification, which you can do on your own. You can pop the envelope in the refrigerator if you want to, or I've got a video on my YouTube channel about cold stratifying seeds and how we did that. You're essentially taking a container, sprinkle some seeds inside with some growing medium. You can use coconut coir, you can use seed starting mix, and you want to keep it moist and in the refrigerator for 6 weeks or more. Or you can let nature take its course and plant it before your freeze, which I just mentioned. We're going to have 8 degrees on Monday. So if I want to plant seeds or sow seeds that require cold stratification, now is the time to do it. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do for cold stratification. I have a big bag of lupine that requires cold stratification. I've got a good mix of seeds that needs cold stratification. I'm going to take that and I'm going to scatter it in what I call my front forest. My front forest has partial shade, a couple trees, and it blocks the road from our house. And I'm going to just scatter all of the seeds now. I'm going to do it tomorrow, actually. And then come Monday, we're going to have some really cold weather for a stretch. We might have some snow. We might have just some flurries. And that will allow nature to take its course. Or like I said, you can put it in the refrigerator and then you can plant it out and direct sow. And I did post that on my Facebook page just in case I know not everybody's on Facebook or social media, so I do try to share the information all over the place. So cold stratification is essentially, you can allow nature to do its thing and plant it out before it's cold, or you can put it in the refrigerator, which is a lot easier for some people. And then you're kind of mimicking nature that way. Okay. Now, another thing that I've got going on is I'm going to do some seed starting with some kids in a 4-H group here locally in Van Zandt County. Ben Wheeler is Van Zandt County. That's where we are. And I was asked to do a seed starting workshop with the kids, which is going to be super exciting. I always love working with kids because it's just lots of fun to see their faces and they get all excited. The extension office has a large area at their place that they're going to use as a teaching garden. And so I've offered to donate seeds and soil amendments for that teaching garden so the kids can learn how to grow. They can actually grow, and then they're going to take that produce and they're going to cook it. So it's an initiative with, I'm not sure if it's just the state of Texas or it's an extension office type of thing, where it's a program where you learn it, grow it, cook it, eat it. I'm not 100% sure if I said that right, but that's pretty much the gist of it. So like I said, if I missed your questions, or if you have more questions or more in-depth questions, please feel free to ask. We've got some, I'm talking about seeds today, but also I'm talking about what is going on in this wild and crazy world of seeds. I'm super excited to share seeds with pretty much everybody. Now, the West Virginia University Extension Office reached out to me as well. They were recommended, I was recommended to them by a friend of mine, an internet friend of mine, which is awesome. We've been corresponding back and forth, and we've been friends for a long time, and she's a customer of mine as well, and I would consider her a friend at this point. Kaylin at Elba Mills Farm, I've mentioned her before. She said, contact Mary, she can do it. The West Virginia University Extension Office has a initiative to help people grow. It's a challenge, and it is a Grow This Challenge. So I created a bundle for them specifically because they have hundreds of thousands of seeds that they send out every year, but they ran out of seeds. So how can I help? I created a bundle. It's in the description section of this video. It's 3 specific seeds. It's Jimmy Nardella pepper, a delicious frying pepper. It is Russian red kale, and it's Scarlet Nantes carrot. Those are the 3 varieties in their Grow It Challenge, and it's all about seeds. So you want to grow those from seed, and it's a county by county challenge, which is kind of exciting. And so I created a bundle. It's a little less expensive if you buy the bundle versus buying the seeds by itself. But the goal is to get people growing food from seed. So there's a lot of information on my website specifically about what to grow. Krista says, one of my favorite things, seed challenges. Perfect. That's on my list of things, is the challenges for this year. So we're talking about seeds today. Now, so those are in the Grow This Challenge for the West Virginia extension. You don't have to be in West Virginia to grow these varieties. You can save a little bit by buying the bundle, but they're really good varieties. I'm actually surprised that they are choosing heirlooms, because not everyone has the same idea of heirlooms. Some people prefer only hybrids, or only this or only that. So super excited to see an extension office recommending heirlooms specifically. Hey, who's there? Thanks for joining us. So upcoming videos is going to be the garden challenge. Speaking of seeds, I will be announcing the specific seeds that we are going to be suggesting for our upcoming challenges. It has been a fairly wild ride for us here on our homestead. If you aren't on my personal page, which a lot of you aren't, I mentioned last week that it's been a really crazy week. We spent our anniversary Christmas and New Year's trying to figure out what was wrong with our tiny terror. If you don't know our tiny terrors, they are 2 orange kittens that we rescued at 10 days old and bottle fed them, and they're now 18 months old. And we almost lost Max. He almost died. And so it has been a challenge trying to manage everything on our homestead. Christine calls him SpongeBob. I know, I laugh. It was so sad. We went to the vet twice. We went to the emergency vet twice, and they had their options and what was wrong. And I finally decided to find a new vet. And he, after 4 hours of working with us, 4 hours in this guy's office, you could see the wheels turning. There was something stuck in his intestine, and he had to have emergency surgery immediately. He called me. Anyway, I don't want to take over the whole video on this, but this has been my last few weeks. It was literally 14 days of battling this, running the seed business, still trying to get live videos done. And we decided to postpone all of our holiday celebrations until he was better. And hallelujah, Friday he had emergency surgery and he's starting to gain weight again. I really didn't think he would make it. So it was hard for me to be excited in videos when we had all that going on. So does mulling need to be stratified? I think the answer to that is yes. Grow Big TV. By the way, if you haven't already followed Grow Big TV on YouTube, go to their channel after my live chat and subscribe to their videos. They've got some great videos. I love the passion that they have for growing as well. And of course, they interviewed me live on Tuesday, so that was kind of fun. So thank you everybody for your patience. Honestly, the only reason I'm sharing that tidbit about Max, the male sibling of our orange kittens, is because it's been a little bit of a challenge and I haven't been able to get my other YouTube videos posted. I have my garden challenges video that needs to get posted and I haven't done it, but I will, I promise. I have my soil testing videos. The soil has been tested, the results are in, but I haven't done the video because that's what I've been doing for the last 18 days was trying to keep my boy alive. So I really appreciate all of your patience, by the way. Christine says you're human, you're doing great. I appreciate it, thank you. I am human. I'm not Superwoman. I try sometimes, but I'm not. So let's talk about seeds. Seed potatoes, number one. I just announced yesterday on Facebook that we have seed potatoes. Hey, Inga, thanks for joining us. We have a very, very limited supply, and I sent out an email today. Alicia, thank you very much. He's doing well now. I sent out an email this morning. We are almost completely sold out of seed potatoes in 24 hours because I only have a limited supply. I am only going with one farmer this year. I love their work ethic. I love the way they grow. I love the transparency. I like everything about this farmer. So that's what we're doing. Hey, Matt Farms, thanks for joining me. So we have 4 varieties of seed potatoes. They are tubers. They are actual physical tomatoes. So that would be a good one. If you're interested, there are for spring planting. Sean says, how can corn seeds be different color? Easy. It's just the way they grow. There are, speaking of corn, if you aren't already signed up for my emails, I highly recommend it because I've got some new varieties coming up. And did you know that the original strain of corn was not your typical corn on the cob? It looks absolutely nothing like the original corn. It looks more like a sorghum, it's called broom corn, sorghum is. I'm going to have an original strain of corn that might just blow your mind. I don't know. But it's not the same as your typical corn that you grow now. Corn now has been bred to be what it looks like now. But how can corn seeds be different? It's just simply that it's a different variety. So we have Oaxacan green corn that is completely different than Stowell's evergreen corn. they're two different types of varieties. One is a flour corn and one is a sweet corn. So to answer your question, you have different colors because they're different varieties. It's the same as different tomatoes. You've got a green tomato and you've got a purple tomato. And then one might be a grape tomato and one might be a slicing tomato. So the simple answer to that is they're just different varieties. We have hey there from Kansas. You're planting in your greenhouse, and thank you for sharing your pictures with me on our Facebook page. I appreciate it. We currently carry purple corn, green corn, white corn, red corn, yellow corn, black corn. There's a lot of different varieties. So corn is on my list to discuss today. Seeds. You have sweet, field, dent, popcorn, flour. All of them are used for different purposes. Some of them can be used for multi-purposes. So let's see, glass gem corn. That's a multicolored corn. You don't have all red in one ear. You've got multiple seeds in one ear, and that is an older variety as well. It is a popping corn. So when you see popcorn, Dakota black popcorn is another one, or strawberry popcorn is another one. Those are varieties that are used specifically for popcorn. And I've had people ask me, well, how does it taste? Well, it tastes like popcorn because you don't eat it as a corn on the cob. You, like a sweet corn, you eat it as a popcorn. Whereas you've got, say, I already mentioned Stowell's Evergreen sweet corn. You've got Aunt Mary's sweet corn. There's a lot of different varieties. You've got coulis corn. That is a purple variety of sweet corn. Now, if you harvest it early, it's a sweet corn. If you harvest it later, it can be used as a flour corn. And Matt Farm says there are multicolored popcorns, and Glass Gem is a multicolored popcorn. You also have multicolored dent corn or field corn. So rainbow Indian corn would fall in that category. When you grow an ear of corn, of rainbow Indian corn, you will have a rainbow of kernels on a single cob. So you're going to find different varieties, different strains, because they are very, very old. Some of the singular varieties, Hopi corn exactly is a blue corn that is fantastic for making blue corn tortillas. I have a lady that's close by, and when she makes tortillas, she brings them to me and they're delicious, and she made me blue corn tortillas not too long ago, and it was amazing. And we've actually had cornbread made from Glass Gem corn, and it had kind of a purplish tint to it, which is really good. So Matt's farm says you don't have success, or you haven't had success growing corn. So not only is corn a heavy feeder, but it also requires wind for pollination. If you have a small area, do not plant one long row of 25 feet of corn. You will most likely not be successful. If you are growing corn on a small scale, meaning if you aren't growing corn on an acre, your best bet is to grow them in clumps or squares. So when I'm growing corn, I mentioned on Grow Big TV on Tuesday when I was live, I mentioned that most of my gardens are in raised beds because of pest issues, water issues, soil issues. There's a number of reasons why you should grow, or you can grow, I should say, in raised beds. So if I'm going to grow corn, I'm going to grow an entire raised bed, an 8 foot by 4 foot bed of corn. And then I'm going to add some companion plants around the inside and the outside. So by lumping them all together, you have a much better chance of success because you've got the wind that can help pollinate that whole clump versus having a single row, which is not going to help you at all. And I also don't necessarily recommend growing multiple varieties of corn in a small area. And here's why. I want to talk about seeds. I see the misinformation going on in social media where people are saying, well, I planted a summer squash and a winter squash, and they cross-pollinated in the single bed, and I had this weird squash that grew. And I'm here to tell you that that's not how it works. Some varieties can cross with others and some cannot. But if you have two, let's say for the sake of ease, we had a neighbor that would shake her corn as she passed by. You can absolutely do that because it's wind pollinated, so that's a great idea. So when you have, let's say for the sake of ease, we have a zucchini and we have a crookneck squash. If you are growing those in the same bed, they can cross-pollinate, but you're not going to see the results of the cross-pollination in the first generation. So when your crops produce squash, you're not going to have a mix of zucchini and crookneck squash growing that year. If you save those seeds for next year and you grow them, you might have a hybridized or a cross of the two varieties. Maybe those seeds will produce, maybe they won't. It really just depends. Now, the difference in that is with corn, you are literally eating the seeds. So you can see the difference of cross-pollination in the first generation of corn because you are seeing the cross-pollination right now. Hey, Christian, thanks for joining us. So because you're eating the seeds, that's where it's different. So my recommendation for growing corn is grow one variety in one space and make it a good chunk of space. Don't plant it too far apart. And honestly, I err on the side of caution and I plant them too close together. And I just make sure that the soil that I plant them in has a good amount of nutrients, and then I feed it regularly. I feed it worm tea, I feed it compost tea, I feed it mountain flower root boost. All of those things are fantastic. You can side dress it with compost as well. So that's a great option for corn. And it was a great option for me to share with you about seeds and cross-pollinating. Let's see, another one that I get questioned about is onion seeds. I have had people say, hey, Mary, I grew this variety of onions and it didn't do well in my area. What did I do wrong, or what's the problem with my soil? So onion seeds, onion varieties in particular, are region specific. Now that's a really interesting one because there aren't a lot of varieties that work this way. You have short day, you have intermediate, and you have long day. And those three varieties grow in specific regions. So you have short day is the South. So I'm in Texas. I've grown in South Florida and I've grown in California. And all three of those are short day onions. If you go to marysheirloomseeds.com and you find the onion seeds, you can use the option to sort, and you can sort it by short day, intermediate, and long day. You can try and grow intermediate in the South. Not a problem. This is specifically for bulbing onions, not bunching onions. No matter where you are region-wise in the US or Canada, you can grow bunching onions, you can grow chives, you can grow garlic, but this is specifically for bulbing onions. Now, if you're in the middle of the state, we have a map. You can check it out. Intermediate varieties are good. And this is all to do with a day light, I believe. And then you have long day onions are the north. So, and again, you can separate those out and you can decide which ones to grow for you. So the Texas Early Grano is my favorite. It's super easy to grow. The red burgundy onion is my second favorite because it's also easy to grow. But again, I'm in the South. So if you're in the north, you want to make sure that you're growing the right onion for your specific area. Kind of cool, right? No, actually. Christian says, don't all onions taste the same? Pretty much. Nope. If you've grown your own onions, there is a distinct flavor to different varieties. Some are more sweet, some are more spicy. So it really just depends on which you're growing. I really like growing bunching onions because they're easy and they're faster. You don't have to wait for them to bulb, and you can kind of grow any bunching onion you want. And so the basics of seeds, I'm gonna kind of close up with this. Unless anybody has any questions, I might have missed you. Yes, I eat ramps, and we have some Egyptian walking onions, and we have some, I wouldn't call them walking onions, but they expand. I forget the term for it, but I'll have to figure out and remember what it was. From a local farm here that's been growing this specific variety for a while. Leeks were awesome this past year. Awesome, Christine. I'm happy to hear that. If I missed anybody, if you have questions that I didn't answer, just send me an email. My email is mary@marysheirloomseeds.com. There are, if you haven't already signed up for my emails, I just sent out info on January seed sale, on seed potatoes. There's a lot that is out there in the email, and we don't sell your information. We don't spam you with info. It's just information specifically for growing. All seeds need water, oxygen, and the appropriate temperature to germinate. That's all they need. They do not need fertilizer when you first get started. Some seeds require light. Matt Farm says, oh, awesome. We love Egyptian walking onions as well. We will offer them again this fall. We offered them this year, and I planted a bunch, and we'll offer more next year when we get even more. So hopefully next year we'll have more available. Some seeds require proper light to germinate. So like yarrow, I believe, was one of them that requires light to germinate, and that information's on our website. Some germinate in full light, and some germinate better in the darkness. A lot of seeds do better in the darkness for germination. When a seed is exposed to the proper conditions, water and oxygen are taken in through the seed coat. And once that seed coat has that awesome information, it's ready to go. A seed contains a miniature plant called an embryo that can develop into a fully grown plant. Do you know how amazing it is? I mean, maybe you do, but it still amazes me. Imagine that this tiny little seed, that tiny little seed right there, can grow with just water and oxygen into a giant plant that can produce these beautiful bean plants, bean pods, and eventually create a whole jar of this from the beans. It still amazes me. They're a little powerhouse of fuel. The outer shell of a seed is called a seed coat. So I've referred to that in several videos. And it protects the embryo inside, protects that tiny little plant inside. Inside that seed is everything that seed needs to grow, to germinate. Not necessarily to grow a giant plant, because you're going to need more nutrients in the soil for that plant to produce. But that seed doesn't need anything more. So sometimes I like to soak my seeds in water for 24 hours before I plant them. Beans and corn, I don't do more than 4 to 6 hours. But then from there, you can soak your seeds, and that can actually speed up the germination process for your seeds. Kind of cool, right? So we talked about seed germination. We talked about cold stratification. We talked about a couple of varieties of seeds. And again, I'm going to share with you in the description section of this video, you'll find the comprehensive planting guide. In there is so much information, full of information. Are Egyptian walking onions perennial in zone 7? Absolutely. They will continue to grow in most zones. They literally just flop over and keep going. I'm watching them grow right now in my garden. And I mentioned it's supposed to be 8 degrees on Monday, so we'll see how they do. Right now they've been doing fine, and it's been 30-ish degrees at night, so they're thriving. But yes, they are perennials. We've got customers in different areas of the state that have had fantastic results. So that is it for my seed Q&A. I had some information, specifically some of the stuff I shared tonight was questions that customers had. Matt says, yes, perennial in upstate New York, and you're in zone 6. So absolutely. We have customers all over that have grown them in different zones, and they're fantastic. I mean, when we started offering Egyptian walking onions, some of our customers reached out and they're like, we've been growing them on our property for 20 years and they're so amazing. So it really is the gift that keeps on giving, to be able to have something that you can plant once and just continue to propagate. Just like artichokes are more of a shorter perennial, and asparagus, also delicious and takes forever. It's a labor of love to get them produced from seed, but once they get going, you will have asparagus for decades. Alrighty, everybody, that's it for my seed Q&A. I answered some questions and I offered some info on seeds. If you have any questions that I didn't answer, hey, Alan, your walking onions are doing good, send me an email. My email is mary@marysheirloomseeds.com. Sign up for my email if you haven't already. There's a lot of great information we share. Specifically, if you want the seed sale information for January, I believe it ends on the 21st. So if you want that information and you don't have it already, send me an email and I'll just forward the info to you. Alrighty, everybody. I'm Mary at Mary's Heirloom Seeds signing off, and stay cool. Or actually, I'm going to be cool. Stay warm this weekend. Bye, guys. Have a good one.